It is rare, but as of this very afternoon, we are officially in uncharted territory because never before have the American people at large observed such pervasive and disruptive and jagged, such gaping new fault lines rupturing and exploding in spectacular fashion along the MAGA movement's powerful landmass. Of course, for the past few days, supporters of Donald Trump have had their spears trained on one another in the aftermath of the Trump administration's conclusion that there is, quote, no there on the so-called Jeffrey Epstein client list. But it wasn't until today that Donald Trump entered the chat and Trump himself stabbed at some of his own supporters, calling them, quote, weaklings. Those voters who continue to ask for answers around the Epstein-related conspiracy theories. Donald Trump even suggested that his supporters, the MAGA faithful, are, quote, doing the Democrats' work for some reason, and asserted he didn't want their support anymore anyway. It is a supreme political betrayal for those voters who not only voted for and supported Donald Trump, but stuck with him through grabbing women in the you-know-where on the Access Hollywood tape, through a deadly insurrection, through 2 impeachments, all in the name of proving and punishing such conspiracy theories like the Epstein files. People for whom targeting allegedly corrupt elites wasn't just a campaign promise, along with, I don't know, whatever else people were into, but a worldview, a platform. Consider the political aftershocks making their way through right-wing media right now. Big online personalities like Megyn Kelly insisting she will not just let it go, even when talking to other like-minded right-wing personalities.
This is me not having drawn a conclusion. I don't know what the truth is. I've been reporting in a way. I mean, I see you've taken a side that you've chosen to believe the story that's being offered, and that's fine. A lot of people have. I'm not there yet. I don't actively say that there's a pedophile ring. I don't say any of that. I'm just following the facts, and we're not at the place where I can draw that conclusion.
Well, no, I can draw the conclusion that the evidence that I'm seeing and the people who are speaking about it lead me toward this particular conclusion.
And then there's Joe Rogan. Now, Joe Rogan is different. He holds a special and uniquely powerful place in and adjacent to the MAGA movement, with followers likely as loyal or more loyal to him than they are to Trump. He's repeatedly, though, tapped into these conspiracy theories and others. Watch what he had to say.
They've got videotape, and all of a sudden they don't. You know, you have the director of the FBI on this show saying there's no tape. If there was, nothing you're looking for is on those tapes. Like, what? Why did they say there was thousands of hours of tapes of people doing horrible? Why did they say that?
Right.
Didn't Pam Bondi say that?
What, are you talking about Epstein or Diddy?
Yeah, Epstein.
Yeah, she said it literally, I think, a week before you had the FBI director sitting here telling you there was nothing, right?
She said something about that there was like thousands of hours of tapes of people doing horrible crimes.
There is. And didn't the FBI dude say that there was nothing?
Kash Patel said there's nothing you're looking for. Oh, okay. Okay.
When they mix up the Epstein cover-up and the Diddy cover-up is when I get really intrigued. Intrigued we all are. It's where we start today with some of our favorite reporters and friends. Wired reporter David Gilbert is here. Plus MSNBC columnist, author of the newsletter To the Contrary, Charlie Sykes is here. And with me at the table for the hour, MSNBC senior political analyst Alex Wagner is here. Alex, I was thinking about your militia reporting. Do you remember that reporting that you did?
I sure do.
So the way, and it predated January 6th by many months.
Yeah.
But I remember watching it, and I think I had you on like 7 times because for me, it's like, what are all the things we missed before Alex Wagner is out interviewing people, showing their faces, talking about the armed civil war they're ready to fight on behalf of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And this feels like the same kind of story. What are all the things we missed before we got to Trump's entire movement rupturing in public view spectacularly over what they believe to be a cover-up?
Well, I mean, this sort of like what happened pre-January 6th gets at the central sort of conceit of MAGAism, which is the government is a corrupt cabal. They're lying to you. They're only doing what they're doing for naked self-interest, and it's all shrouded in secrecy and mystery, right? The Epstein thing touches on that central sort of premise, the argument that Trump sold to his people, only this time he's on the other side. He's in opposition to his supporters and the people that believed in this kind of conceit. It also undermines Trump's fundamental role within the movement, which is he's the no BS guy. He's the guy that's going to tell the truth. He doesn't act with a filter. Everything is uncensored, sometimes to his own great, peril. It puts him in a difficult position, but damn it, this is what he does. And here he is saying there's nothing to see here. And if you're interested in it, there's something wrong with you. So I think in that way, the break is along, pardon the medical metaphor, but it's along two sort of like bone lines that are really essential to the sort of structural integrity of MAGA, right? It's not I promised you no wars. It's not a foreign policy thing. It's not a domestic
fight. I promised you cheaper things, and I didn't deliver on that either. It's not a policy promise.
This is the sort of emotional core of MAGA. This is the emotional core of the promise. And now you're seeing a revolution, a revolt. I don't know which one it is quite yet, but it is MAGA eating its own. It is Megyn Kelly and Charlie Sykes and Benny Johnson and Steve Bannon saying, whoa, 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 whoa. It's not Jamie Raskin and Adam Schiff talking about the integrity of our democracy, though that is essential and important. This is a different order of magnitude.
Charlie Sykes, you got name checked, but I would say you came around to the truth on this a lot sooner than some of them.
I think she was referring to Charlie Kirk, and I don't want to be confused
Charlie
with Charlie Kirk. I do not want to be confused with Charlie Kirk. But no, I mean, Alex is exactly right. I mean, this is the conspiracy theory of MAGA. This was their justification for going after the evil, demonic Democrats. And what is really striking to me is that Donald Trump has lost the plot, and maybe for the very, very first time. I mean, he has reason to believe that he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and not lose anyone. He's also been very successful in bending reality to his will. To making his base, think the way he thinks. He's also, keep in mind that he's the executive producer of The Trump Show. And one of his superpowers has been that he determines what we talk about, what they talk about, and what we don't talk about. The last 7 or 8 days, he has failed. He has failed to set the agenda. We are now talking about exactly what he does not want to talk about. And every time he opens his mouth, every time he puts out one of these social media posts, he digs a deeper hole. And this again goes back to that he's lost the plot. You cannot ask this vast movement to marinate in a certain idea of these pedophile cabals as a justification for so much of what he's done, and then suddenly push a button and say, though there's nothing to see here, none of it's true. I mean, for years, the Epstein files have been the files that were going to blow the lid off the Democrats, right? And now suddenly he's pivoting and saying, no, it's the Democrats who wrote them. And if you care about something that I have told you to care about for years, you're doing the Democrats' bidding. This is not just mind exploding for us, because we're used to having our minds explode. It's mind exploding for many of the people in MAGA, and you see that playing out. And so I think he's rattled by this. I think you can feel it when he put out the post over the weekend and he got ratioed on his own social media platform. I think he sort of felt sort of a rumbling in the, out there in the universe. He heard something that he had not heard before, and these are the kinds of things that he pays attention to, and that he's controlled up until now.
And I think, Charlie, the lesson for people on Earth One or outside of MAGA or who have observed, I guess with distress and some dismay, I'll speak for myself, his power over MAGA is that he is not, it's not just he's being eaten by this conspiracy cloud he created. Yeah. It is as though he told these people they now have to take the COVID shot. I mean, that is the emotional betrayal of telling them, I'm not going to release the files. I've seen them. I think Comey wrote them. I don't know when he thinks Comey wrote them, between the time he asked him to drop the Flynn case and 2 weeks later when he fired him. I mean, it's such nonsense. It is revealing how stupid he takes his base to be. And I think the test, if you're on, and I think today the test for those of us on the outside is just to sit back and watch whether their sacrifice for their dignity or their intelligence or other things that used to be sacred, at least for the Republicans, includes being called stupid. That is the part of the story I'm completely intrigued by.
No, this was what he did today was a big middle finger to the vast majority of his own base. Now, I mean, he's insulted a lot of folks over the years, but to go after them for believing what Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino and others and the Charlie Kirks of the world had been telling them was very, very important. And now to tell them, you guys are suckers. Now, actually, David French said something in the last hour that was very, very important. And that's hard for, I think, a lot of us to get our heads around it. And the point he made was you have to understand how hermetically sealed the MAGA world is from a lot of the things that we have been talking about over the last 10 years. And for millions of people in Trump's base, for millions of people, and he prefaced by saying this is hard to believe, this is the first time that they've actually thought, oh my goodness, Donald Trump is lying to us. So for the first time, you have millions of MAGA supporters who are now realizing, oh my gosh, we didn't realize that Donald Trump is a liar. Now, of course, we will say, where have you been the last 10 years? How did you not see this? But for many of them, this is the one issue where suddenly it's like, wait, the Donald Trump that I thought that I was supporting is not that guy. He is now covering up for these elites. He is actually has broken a fundamental promise that we have counted on for much of the last, the last 10 years. And so that's one of the reasons why it feels so different, why the ground feels a little bit shaky for Donald Trump.